So welcome everybody. We appreciate you being here. And I think I took that off. So today's training is on title data. Title data, any data. Now we get it from title. So Carrie is our title rep, as you all know, one of the rep leaders, our main rep. And title taps into various databases. They have their own databases. Those databases are shared. And so data. So what is data? Data is just about any combination of information about a target that you want. Okay? And so today, we're going to cover a little bit. This is what we're going to cover today. Okay? And this looks like a lot, and it kind of is. However, I want you to not worry about all the information. You've got some stuff, I think. Kyle, can you ask for the notes? I think we didn't, Sam was going to print the notes. And we didn't print the notes. No, it's a notes thing. I got a thing for notes. We have a thing kind of reminds you, just as you go through this, don't worry about lots and lots of details. Now, I know yours and mine are different.
Got it.
Yours and mine are different. So it's the other way. So don't worry about every detail along the way, okay? We're going to get you one for notes. Just jot down the ideas that pop in your mind. Okay, you get an idea, we're talking about something, you get some idea, just jot it down in the notes. Okay, because we will provide for you the PowerPoint presentation. We're going to provide for you the training video. So you'll be able to review this, and go over as much as you want. So today, as I said, we're going to cover how to work with seller title data, how to work with buyer title data, what it is, a couple of key title data that we brought. Carrie's got some lists too. We're going to provide for you if you like. Okay, and then on the third one is lead generation from title data. Okay. And in that, what we're really going to cover, we're going to go over some basics on direct mail, telemarketing, email marketing, and social media marketing. Okay? Because they're a combination. And it's whatever you build. Remember, here's the key piece. We all think that we're salespeople, and we are. But really, what we are is relationship people. That's our job. You build relationships. Remember, we've talked in the past about our tribe, or our team, our group. Right? Do you have to compete against Zillow? No. I mean, in all honesty, we know that the turnover rate is about 7 years, right? So 210 people in your database equals about 30 transactions a year. Well, 30 transactions a year is about $300,000 to $400,000 a year in income, right? Of 210 people who are your tribe that you have your relationships with, and it's an ongoing relationship. So rather than sell, remember, we want you to focus on building solid relationships with people, getting to know them, figuring those things out. So data is a way to target specific people. And to give you an idea, I have a cousin named Becky, and she went to college, and she's a tall, redhead, beautiful, just one of those just absolute gorgeous people, right? And she decided in college, in her freshman year, she's kind of aggressive by nature, she decided that she was going to get a list of the top 100 richest guys at BYU, Brigham Young University, where she was going to school, and she was going to date exclusively out of that list. Because she's going to fall in love with who you spend your time with, right? All right. So she figured, well, if I'm going to fall in love with who I spend my time with, let's just narrow the target down to someone I want. Okay, that's what title data is. Now, I'll tell you, she ended up marrying some other guy that's completely taken and didn't pull it out. Okay, but it was a good idea, right? The concept was good. So remember, it's about relationships. It's always about relationships. And data is a way for you to target people that you want to build your relationship, where you can have the most and best opportunity in order to have transactions out of the relationships you build. Okay? So keep that in mind as we go. And then, so from here, let's jump up. We're going to talk about types of seller data. And Carrie, you can jump in here too. You can stand up here with me. You can sit in the back. We're good. The types of seller data that we pulled today are going to be owners who lived in their homes longer than 10 years, owners who own their homes free and clear, and then we're going to talk about GEO farming and life event farming. Okay? And some of the things that I think,
yes.
Carrie, you might want to jump in here about.
Perfect.
I want to jump in here about this and explain this piece to them and the types of data that you can help them get. Because there will be, I have to say something, there will be certain types of data that your title company won't be able to get for you. And in that case, if that's the case, there will be other sources we can use in conjunction or separately, but 90% of what you're gonna want, you can get from title.
So that's one of the best things about title companies is the data that we have. So we have recorded information and then we have some general information as well. Later on today, I'm gonna show you a brand new farming tool that we have, which basically includes all the stuff that we used to not have, so we have it now. But, so what Ronnie says is narrowing your focus. Lots of people jump into real estate, they go, real estate agent, oh, I want all the names of people who live in Bellevue. Okay. That's like, a million people. So you don't want to start with a million people because if you figure even just once a month, try reaching those people, it's $1 a month. Most people just starting out with real estate don't have $1 million a month budget. So what I like to do is sit down with you, figure out what's your budget. Then I think the easiest thing to do is pick an area. Start small. Start where you live because that's where you're going to spend the most time. And then we reach out from there. We're going to go through specific things like people who own their house for 10 years and figure out what kind of information do I gather from people who own their house for 10 years. We've picked that area. Title companies for free, or not for free, for $2 can give you information about the house, specifics about the house. How old is it? How big is it? How big is the lot? How many bedrooms, bathrooms? Data about the house. The next step, hi, come in, how are you? The next step that dives a little deeper.
Is that pulling title? Is that $2?
No, that's not.
Okay.
Pulling title is something else. So
Okay.
pulling title is when we actually dive into the title report
Okay.
regarding that property that you're about to list or even potentially buy.
But if
Then-
I have a little question, I can pay the $2 and get the.
So that would be for a farm.
Oh, okay.
So we call it a farm. Is what we is say Monty has a listing and he wants the 200 addresses around that property. That would be called a farm, and that's where you go. Oh, I just want the 250 people around that farm, around that particular listing. What I was just saying about pulling a list where you live, that's where you would go. Okay, I want the 100 closest houses to me. We dive in, we go, are they owner occupied? Meaning, does the owner live there? How long have they owned the house? How big is the house? That will all come for $2. That's what a farm is.
Carrie, can I jump in with you?
Yeah.
Let's talk about a few things that might be a benefit to you. For example, a person who is, 55, right? And they've got a 4-bedroom, 3-bath home. Do they need it?
No.
They might, but they might
Probably
not.
not.
We don't know. But
Yeah.
what's the averages? What's the average number of children that a family has in a general area? This is all demographic information. You can pull this. This is easy. So you start looking at people, maybe your target is to help people who need to scale down. Maybe your target is to take the boomers, for lack of a better word, the people who are at that next stage. Remember, in the next 25 years, $67 trillion is going to transfer hands from the boomers to the next 2 generations. $67 trillion. Yeah. Right now, 62 and older in the country, just 62 and older. In equity, there's between $6 and $8 trillion in equity just for people 62 and older.
Oh.
Wow.
They're just sitting there. People don't know. They don't know what to do. They don't know their options. How are they supposed to know their options if you haven't found them, become friends with them, and help them learn about their options? So that when they're ready, you're the expert. So, for example, that might be a target. A target might be, okay, I want people who are 60 and older that have houses with 4 bedrooms or more, and they're empty nesters. Okay, all their kids have moved out, gone to college, and are having kids, and they haven't had to move back home yet. Okay, then that way, mom and dad can scale down to a nice little 2-bedroom, 2-bath house, so nobody can move home. That might be your target.
So
Right,
then you
but-
call the title company and we provide you a list of people
Yeah.
that live near you that have owned their house for 20 years, who have a 3,000 square foot house, and then we provide that list. Well, another list to go and talk to those people with are properties that are 2 bedrooms that have become available. Then you're coming to them with value. What's your
Is
question?
it $2 for the Whole list or $2 for each property?
$2 for the whole list.
The whole list you want? Oh,
5,000
A
names.
list can be
Nice.
5,000 total people, can be. Yeah,
Wow.
can't go over that.
Okay.
So
I
Washington.
mean, it
as a
can be, you
state-
could just, it's just $2,
Yeah.
that
Oh,
brings
yeah.
it 5,000.
The insurance bureau here in Washington as a state is very, if you compare it to the other states, it's the hardest state to do business with. They restrict her more than
Washington
yeah,
is?
Washington State
Washington
restricts
has
what
this.
she can do as a title rep more than any place. For example, I mean, I can just pick up the phone in California and call my title rep, and I get 100,000 names, blah, 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 and their list is over in 30 minutes. There are no questions. Oh, sure, what can we do for you? Here, you can't do that, right? There's things you can do in other states you can't. So there are some restrictions in the state that she's limited to, but within those restrictions, there's a lot title can do for you, okay? And so part of it is back to like my cousin Becky. She's Mormon. She goes to Brigham Young University. It's important to her to be, that whole thing, right? So she says, okay, since this is my target group, inside that target group, I want to target this. And I'm going to fall and live inside this group. It didn't happen, but that was concept, right? But it's the same thing. Inside title is like, okay, who are the people that fit what I'm working with that I can learn about and get to know and develop relationships with? And maybe I have 5,000 people. How many people do you need to know in order to have $300,000 to $400,000 a year in income?
200.
200, 250 maybe? Yeah. That's not a lot of people. So the data, the targets, you start narrowing things down and figuring things out. A lot of what we pulled, have come up what we call 3-county data. Well, that 3-county data was people who had purchased their homes in 3 counties between 2000 and 2013. Notice 13 from 19 is 6 years. So the average person stays in 7 years. That means that list is a great list for people who are, because they're getting to that point where they're starting to think about it from a demographics point of view. That makes sense? And that was a list I pulled. It was for my own. We use it here. And we've gotten a lot of listings and closings off of it. Nice target. There are other targets. Go ahead. What else do you want to tell?
Yeah, so you sit down with me, or whoever, and decide, A, how much money do you want to spend a month on marketing to these people? Because the trick is, I pull farms all day long for people, and I don't do anything with them. They might put them in their CRM, they might send a postcard out, and then I get a call 2 months later, oh, I never got anything from that. I know, because you sent one postcard. And if you guys check your mail, like I check my mail once a month, right? Postcards and everything just go right into the recycling. So if you want to actually get some leverage, you have to take it to the next step. We have the data, we'll provide you the information. I'll even help you come up with a 12-month drip campaign on what are we going to do for these people. 1 month can be a postcard, but the next month, let's do a drop-by. The next month, let's do an email campaign. You have to consistently reach these people. So what I passed out, is this. So I mentioned in the beginning, house data, that's $2 for 5,000 names. Deluxe farms, this is getting into the owners. So what kind of loan they got, how much do they owe on their house, all those specifics about the particular owner, that does cost a little bit extra. So that's what building a deluxe farm is, and you can just read these kinds of things and understand.
This farm list that she has will act like a memory jogger for you. Okay? Your memory joggers, I got a memory jogger with like 500 different ideas of people who you might know. It's a memory jogger. Who cuts your hair? Who does your nails? Who does your glasses? Who's your optometrist? Who's this? Who's this? These are people that you know. The only difference between doing business with people and not doing business is generally the depth of the relationship and how much they know and trust you. Are you the authority in their minds and their hearts? Do you have this? Come in.
Come in,
Good.
and that's
Good.
just
You're
all
awesome.
my junk, so you
Oh,
sit
you're
wherever
good.
you want.
So it's just like everything else. This is like a memory jogger, and then from there, it can help you narrow down specifics of types of people that you want to work with. For example, how many of you speak a foreign language? Rango, get your hand up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So how about we pick Chinese names? How about we pick N? How about we pick, what did you want to learn? If you speak, some people speak multiple languages. Why don't you find people with those languages? You can in title. You can find this data. So what you're doing is narrowing down the group that you want to develop a relationship with. And then we're going to teach you how to build a relationship with them. That's the goal. So that's what data can do for you, right?
Absolutely.
What else you want to say?
Well, this is separate than your sphere, right? You've got your sphere of influence. These are people that you know, right? This is another market that we were going to target. And I think as you work, most of you guys are all new, so as you work with your sphere of influence and you figure out your skill set, it may be with people who are 55 and older or 65 and older. Maybe you have that compassionate piece that they need to help them with that next step. Maybe you go, thanks, Granny, don't have the patience for that. Maybe you want to work with millennials. And that's what you'll figure out from your sphere, and then that helps with, going to that, creating a target market. If you're looking for millennials and that's the group that you really want to target, well, we're not going to look at people who've lived in their house for 10 years because they probably don't have a house quite yet. So we're looking, you know what I mean? So it's a different kind of marketing. So be thinking about your sphere and the people that come across your desk and how you work with them and how you realize your personality really comes out and you go, oh, I worked well. That doesn't mean that you only work with people who are 65 and older. Not at all, but it definitely builds your confidence to work with clients that really appreciate you and can speak highly of you. So
today,
yeah, we'll go
thank you,
through this.
Kate. Today we're going to pick 3 different types of seller data to talk about and why. Because part of your understanding, part of what I want you to know when you're done is who's my target and why are they my target? Because she made a great comment. When we get to the buyer data, I'm going to give you a classic example of a type of data that I don't want to deal with. I don't have the patience for it. So if I was to work that, I'd be frustrated all the time. So again, not only is it to find people that you want to work with, but it's also to help you eliminate the types of people that you may not want to work with. It may not be something you connect to. You may not have the patience for it. So let's go through this. Seller data. Owners who lived in their home longer than 10 years. And I want you to start thinking about this. This is the why you would pick this. Why would you pick this data? If you were to pick this data, why would you? Well, here's a couple of reasons. The average timeline that people in our area own a home before they sell it is just under 7 years. Where do you get that from? The MLS. Yeah, it's right on data on the MLS. It's free. It's right there. They'll tell you exactly what the average time. Where do you get the average time on the market? The MLS. Remember, what is a seller's market? A seller's market qualifies as a seller's market when the average time on the market that a home sets is 90 days or less. A neutral market is when a home is there for 91 days to 6 months on average. And a buyer's market is from 6 months and 1 day on to whatever it takes. Okay? That's when you know it's a buyer's market. Just having that knowledge. Now, mind you, I've been doing this for a couple of years, right? Been around the block
Like 2.5.
To this day, I talk to brokers who have been in the business for 20 plus years, and I ask them a lot of times to define to me, tell me what the difference is in each one. How do you define, how do you know if it's a seller, neutral, or buyer market? And they don't know. You guys have to have more knowledge right now in just that one piece than literally 95 or more % of the brokers out there. Just by having that piece. Now, when you tell your buyers and sellers that, you just became an authority. You have actual statistical structure. You can share this information. Well, as soon as you do that, and they're out talking to some other agent, and you say, well, it's a buyer or seller, what's a seller's market? Well, how do you know? Well, I don't know, my broker tells me. Now, if you've given them the numbers and the reasons, where are you compared to that? You're now one up on that broker. You're the person they want to use. You're building that trust, that knowledge, that relationship. It's the same thing with here. You find that in the MLS. This makes everyone who's been in their house 10 years or longer prime targets for selling and buying a new home. That's the great part about working with listings. Not only does it develop buyers, but it has a built-in buyer for you a lot of times. Good. At least 50% of the time. You'll pick up a sale and a buy. We've picked up 2 listings that have second listings and buyers. So we have 2 clients, two separate clients. They're going to be a total of 6 total transactions.
Whoa.
Huh? That's why listings and people are gonna, so you're looking at your numbers. This is where you can see what statistically, you know that it's 7 years. Well, if I go out to 10, those people have all had their house at least 10 years. We know that statistically they're in that turnover rate. That is one of the reasons, or a couple of reasons, why we pick that type of data. I want you to get in the habit of thinking about who you want to work with and why. Because you have to come up with your own business, your own reason for why, and we can help you. We can give you lots of ideas on who, what, when, and where, but you have to pick it. So, seller data, owners who own their home free and clear. Why would you want to contact an owner that has their house free and clear? Well,
They have
one, they got a boatload of equity. Huh? Yeah, $500,000, $1 million of equity just sitting there. What are they doing with it? Is that the best place for them to keep that? Is that the best from a financial planning point of view? Is having equity in your house the safest and best place?
Not really. Depends.
It depends, right? After that guy
Yeah.
talked on reverse mortgage, I was like, it was like, wait,
People with
what?
equity sometimes want to do a lot of other things. They might want to buy rentals. They might want to be in fix and flips. They might need long-range financial planning that would include all of this. There may be a lot of things that come off this, so it's a really nice target. You may decide you want to look for investors, and you want to pool a group of investors to start doing some type of business. Well, if you have 5 people with $500,000 each in equity, and they're all willing to put that money, now you have $2.5 million to work with. See, there could be a reason that you're working with these people. Okay? That's what we want you to start thinking. This is a critical thought. The ability to come up with critical thinking, not to have me tell you what to think, but for you to think, that's important.
So I have to tell a story.
All you want.
So my parents lived in Kirkland for 43 years, and they owned 2 lots in Kirkland, and everybody marketed to my dad because everybody else had sold around him, and he had these 2 lots. And he used to always say, "I'm going out in a pine box. I'm never going to sell." Bought the house for like $60,000 in '71. Right? And so he had all this equity in the house, and me and my brother were like. So we're waiting. My brother and I both married, go away, everything. All of a sudden, 6 years ago, I think, my dad goes, "Oh, we're selling." And we're like, "Wait, hold on, what? You're selling the house? Like to who? Like what? Wait a minute, what?" I said, "Did you interview agents? Did you what? Who came to your door?" He goes, "I met a good guy at the barber shop."
Wow,
I was like, "Are you kidding me? He gets your deal. He gets your deal, Dad." And he goes, "He's a good guy." My dad was 70 years old. It's a handshake.
Don't stop. Let me say something. Who buys logically? No one. No one buys logically. Everyone buys emotionally. It's that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
The barbershop guy connected, they have this great connection. It can be a complete lunatic.
You buy from who you like.
Honestly, you don't
You
know,
do.
right?
And
But
for you guys,
emotionally,
yeah.
Dad was, I like this person.
it was a handshake, and it felt good. I mean, he told my dad whatever it is he wanted to hear, which I think was probably, we won't tear down the house right away. So my mom's gonna live in it. I was like, whatever. But that's who he sold to, and he didn't negotiate. I mean, they came up with a fair price, and my parents walked away as is.
They downsized?
They did actually they bought a bigger house, but they
Oh.
moved to Enumclaw.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So my dad was from Hershey, Pennsylvania, so he wanted small country town, and so they bought cash, and
cash
um,
in the market.
yeah. So anyway, I mean, but there's 2 reasons to tell you that story. One, how many thousands and thousands of dollars worth of marketing did cross my dad's mail, and he met somebody. You guys are always on. You
Over
were
a conversation at the
over
barber
a
shop.
conversation.
Yeah.
So I highly, highly recommend you always wear your name tag. Because people will stop you. They'll in the Starbucks line. Do you know what's going on in the real estate market? Boom. Like Hunger Games, put a dart in their neck. That's your client. That's who you want. But you're all walking around, they don't know. So wear your name tag all the time. Have a handful of cards in there all the time, because you are the problem solver that they didn't know they needed.
No, it's a big piece. Seriously. Thanks.
I'll be here all week.
Yeah,
Go hang out in the barbershop. That's the lesson.
Remember, you're not selling. You're building relationships. People do business with people they know and trust. They do. If you're the person, another classic example, Bainbridge Island. 2 years ago, I have a client, two business partners out of Utah that own a title company there, and their brother and brother-in-law, and their father was selling his condo right on the water in Bainbridge Island. And they had him contact me about setting a listing. And he said, oh, the guy that runs a place, he's a broker and he sells all of these. And he's already got a buyer for me. $295,000. I comped it, it's a 350. It's an easy, brain dead 350 condo. And I went back to him and you know what? He was so emotionally invested in that concept that he knew this guy was going to do the right thing. Well, the guy's basically pocket listing it into investors. And and then they're turning around a year later, putting them back on the market and selling them and he's making, the guy's actually swindling people. But it was really hard, I couldn't explain it to him. And I said, look, I'll get you more, here's the comp, pay attention. He didn't want to. He felt that this was the right place for him. Okay, all right, give or take. That was his choice though. Be that person they trust. Build that relationship. That's what this is about. This is just a source to start targeting. Now, GEO farming. GEO is a area. You pick your area. There's some great things in it. It lets you concentrate on a specific area and become known in that area as a local expert. It's the Little Acre of Diamonds story about the guy in Zimbabwe who sold his farm to go find diamonds. He made millions, he did, but 20 feet out his back door straight down is the biggest, most productive diamond mine in the history of the planet. Yeah, start where you're standing.
Yeah.
Start in the neighborhood. Be there, okay? So it's that kind of thing. So geo-target marketing lets you work on concentrated areas. Now here's the pro and the con. Can you?
Yeah.
Here's the pro and con of it. Turnover is usually 2 to 4% annually. So that means if you have 1,000 people in your database on your geo-target, there are going to be 20 to 40 sales that year, and you and everybody else are looking for them. Right? Life event farming lets you concentrate on a large, we can stay in the same size area, by the way. You can stick with your geo, but you can also find life events and become the expert for those going through life events. So some life events: divorce, probate, somebody passes away, marriage, somebody gets married. The marriage go from needing a 1-bedroom, 1-bath apartment to suddenly, right? Okay. New additions to the family. Notices of default. Notices of trustee sale. Tax liens, promotions. I don't know, what else can you think of? Life events.
A lot of those happen like that.
What's that?
A lot of those, they're not expecting to do anything the next day that could happen,
Right.
and it changes everything.
Changes everything. They suddenly they've got some problem. Did you catch that? They've got a problem and they're looking for a solution. Be the guy in the barbershop. Be the girl in the barbershop that gives them the answers and solutions to the problem. Be that.
So divorce is,
Here's the turnover process. You want to know the turnover on life events? Remember, 2 to 4% out of every, so 20 to 40 people out of every 1,000 in regular GO. If you take out notice of default and trustee sale, it's 27% in life events. So out of every 1,000, 270 people turn over in 12 months in life events versus 20 to 40. Fighting for 207, that's a lot better. I like that better. Get this, if you add notice of default and trustee sale, it's 54%. So out of the same 1,000 people, if they're going through life events, within the next 12 months, somewhere between 270 to 540 of those people are going to sell a house or buy a house. That's a much better statistical structure to work inside than fighting for 20 to 40 out of the normal 1,000 everybody looks for, right? So you can pick your GEO area and then cross the data with life event data. And it's really easy to do. Yeah? So this is why GEO farming, remember, you're the expert. You become that person. It's another way to do it. She's got some great farming tools that they've just come out with. Everybody, by the way, titles always come up with new tools, things like that, things to use for farming, things to help us. So always stay in touch. Sit down with Carrie. Send them one-on-one time with her. Schedule appointments. Say, Carrie, what do I do? and she'll help you, okay? Now,
Were you gonna say something about divorce? I was just curious.
I was. So I
Okay,
mentioned
listen.
it a couple of times. So let's say you have your geo farm around you, and we'll go as big as, I think 500 is probably big enough to be able to maintain communication, right? So a lot of people want to celebrate marriages and things like that, but divorces are fast. Most people who get divorced usually have to sell the house because they bought the house on 2 incomes and now they're into 1. So one thing that you may want to think about is going to like a neighborhood counseling center or the divorce lawyers and making sure that you create a relationship with those people so that they can reference you out or refer you out. So that
that is a good point. The point is this, both in probate and divorce,
No.
it's not the people, it's the attorneys.
Yeah.
But how do you find the attorneys? Well, you pull the divorce data, and then you pull the records and look who the attorneys are.
So you
Call
can
the
pull
attorneys.
attorneys, but I mean, really just going into any counseling office and just meeting the counselors and taking them to coffee and just giving yourself as a resource, saying, hey, listen, either even if you have gone through a similar situation, that immediately makes you helpful to somebody else. But even if you haven't, just being that person that can say, yep, that lawn's gonna get pretty hard to
One
mow
decent
come
divorce
springtime.
One decent divorce attorney that likes you, that
Yeah.
trusts you, and has you as a relationship, will give you anywhere from 1 to 5 transactions a month. One
We're gonna
divorce
try.
attorney.
Pray that.
Right, a
I
decent
want
one.
divorces.
Think about that.
Right.
Now remember, who's your target then? Your client is the client, but your real client is that attorney. That's who you're building your relationship with. And it's a great, if you don't mind dealing in that arena, it's a great one, but it is. Probate's the same way. There's a whole probate structure out there, and we'll show you if you want to go into probate, if that's who you want to work with. There's a process, and you get into the courts and the attorneys, and you learn to build and work with those specific people. Just like we're targeting specific types of people, if you want to work on the life event with attorneys, then you want to target those specific types of attorneys. Probate attorneys, financial planning attorneys, things like that. All of those people deal with turnover. CPAs are another one.
Yeah, and you'll as you have transactions through your sphere, Maria's going through a death one right now. I mean, you'll figure out like, oh, okay, it just takes one transaction for you to be able to figure out how to do them. And then now you're the expert on probate. Or,
You
now
don't
you're
need
the
everybody.
expert.
You just need one good one. One good attorney, one good data source, one good target, and you work it. You get good at it. After a while, you're making money hand over foot with it. So let's move to buyers. Types of buyers. Data. Cash buyers, investors, and we'll go back and geo farming again. Okay, so let's talk about these guys. Okay, now remember, you've got this page here, you can write notes. You got your notes, if you want to write notes, feel free. Cash buyers, why? Any buyer using cash or the lack of a mortgage to buy a home or homes is a prime target for additional purchases. Somebody puts $1 million down to buy a house, they have money. Is that somebody you want to be friends with? Somebody I want to be friends with. I mean, to a point, you got to filter out one thing that is. They have additional capital. They have additional resources. It becomes easier to work with them on additional purchases. So again, once you meet them and you establish a rapport relationship with them, it comes down to finding out what they need. What's important to them. How is their life set up? Now here's the cool part. You know how we talked about the financial planning, we brought in different things of this? Most of those people at the top have about as much financial planning in place as everybody else. 0. It's almost none. And so they kind of have it, maybe have this, have that. You become this resource. When you become a resource for people, and then they'll come to you for just about anything, even things you don't know. And you don't have to have the answer. Remember this, it's okay to say, I don't know, but I will find that for you. I want everybody to repeat this. These words, ready? I don't know, but I will find the answer for you. Okay, one more time. I don't know, but I will find the answer for you.
Your next best one is, I got a guy. I got a guy. I got somebody.
Hey, now this data can be found by looking for those closings that did not have a mortgage. And they can do it, okay? They can, yeah.
I'd also like to add.
Now mind you, remember, I'm deaf, so you gotta yell at me.
Okay, for that financial planning part, the majority of the people, even older people who might already have someone, I would say 85% of them don't have what they think they have.
That's right.
Right.
They
So
don't.
even if they have a professional and they trust that person, if you just inform them to take a look at things or say, hey, why don't we take a look at and make sure that, it's not just the problem solving, but it's the problem finding. So the majority of them don't even know what they have in the first place.
A classic example, me. I understand insurance, right? Last year I was getting health insurance for my wife because they were going through the whole health insurance piece. And they say, hey, for what is it? I think it ended up being $52 a month, I can have $250,000 in life insurance, term life insurance, right? $250,000. Okay, I've been paying $52 a month for last year, right? I just finally looked at the policy and had someone else look at it. It's not a life insurance policy. It's an accidental death policy. The only way I can get paid is if I die in an accident. That's not what they told me, and that's not what I thought I had.
But it has to be an accident,
It has to be an accident.
so natural causes.
Your wife might make sure of that.
I'm toast. I get
Whoa.
nothing. Right? Hey, I thought I had life insurance.
Ronnie, your wife
I know.
knows.
It's like, okay,
She's
wife,
planning
This is
for
what
it.
you want.
everybody's impoverished. Everybody's gonna live with their money. Okay, you get what
Hi,
I'm saying,
Ronnie.
right? So you can find it.
Ronnie,
Yes. Yes.
you can buy from me. I will sell your real life policy.
That's
Yes!
good. I like that. That's good.
Wasn't Ronnie, that's a true story. It wasn't the small print, because you're like an insurance guy.
How many of you read the contracts?
No.
Honestly, how many read the contracts? I was told it's this. I even said, okay, I need a term life insurance policy. That's what I'm looking for. If you're going to do this term, oh yeah, it's absolutely term life insurance. Well, technically, it is. It's a form of term life insurance, but it does not cover 98% of what I wanted covered.
Wow.
And they didn't bother to tell me that. I thought I had something different. This is a true story. I just found this out last month. And I read contracts most of the time. That one, I was reading I'm more worried about the other, and this was an add-on upsell they were doing. And I didn't pay as much attention. I said, this is life insurance. He says, absolutely. No. There you go. Pay attention. Become not just the person in the barbershop, come in with enough knowledge to understand what your people really need. And even if you don't know it all, that's okay. Have your team around you, which will help you build from the financial planning point of view, the people you need, will help give them to you. Where then you can start being not only, because remember, you don't have to have all the knowledge. You just have to know where to find it. Blaine, you want to say something? Okay, got it. Okay, so cash buyers, that's why. Investors. Carrie brought up a point. Why would you go with investors? I go with investors because I don't like dealing with people and their emotional needs to find their perfect home. I'm not that person, okay? If you want to go out and you're a nice couple and, she's got to have this and all that's great. And I think it's wonderful and I believe you deserve it. And my buyer's rep is going to be taking you because I don't do well dealing with that. I don't like it. I don't think you can go through 50 homes and still be standing like this going, please pick a house. Investors, it's all numbers. It's pure numbers. Boom, boom, run through the analytics, shit it to them. They'll go, yes, no, bang, you're in contract. And you can turn them. Investors are a great resource. Now,
But that's it,
these buyers can be
Ronnie.
found by searching buyers who have more than one house or have purchased more than one home in the last 24 months.
Ronnie has a very specific skill set. Yes, investors are phenomenal because they are one and done or no, yes, no. But it's a very different skill set than somebody
is.
who can go to 50 houses
But
and
this
have
one
the
fits
patience
me.
for that.
It may
So,
not fit you.
It sounds appealing, but you definitely have to have this skill set.
No, she's absolutely right.
I'm too emotional.
Yeah. Most people like to connect.
Or builders.
We like to go through that. I like to do that. I just have a bit of Asperger's syndrome, which means I run out of the ability to stay connected after a period of time. It's just it's not programmed.
You run out of the ability after like 30 seconds. I don't care
And it's
anymore.
not that I can't stay connected, it's just the ongoing, it's just like, wow, it overloads my system. They're not good for me, but they're great for most of you.
Yes.
You really get in, and I've had some of the great relationships with people. I still have these relationships with several of my buyers and sellers, okay? But if I'm out there just day after day showing house after house because emotionally it's just not me. I picked this. You may not like investors. It's pure numbers. It really is. All right? So it comes down to, as Carrie said in the beginning, not only will data help you find what you're looking for, it helps you eliminate what you don't want to deal with. And that's a big piece. Knowing what you don't want to focus on is just as important as knowing what you do. Because you only have so much time. How many hours are there in a week? Anybody know? 168. 168 hours in a week. How many hours in the week does Bill Gates have? Same as me. You know what the difference is? Where he focuses. That is it. Focus. If you want to build a focus on where you're making money and where you're happy making money and where you have the biggest bang for your buck, the biggest impact on people's lives. Because this is about us having impact on people's lives continuously throughout their life. And if you don't get into that mode, then the Zillows and the Redfins will mow right over the top of you. Because those are the ones focusing on price. Come on. Well, Redfin will list my house for 1%. Yes, they will. Let's talk about what you are not going to get with them versus what you're going to get here. If you have relationships, this is why in California, where you can do the mortgage and the real estate on the same transaction, it's kind of cool, right? This is where my people with 800 credit scores let me make 3 points on their mortgages. Now, if I have a mortgage person in here and you ask them, how many points would you be able to make on a person with an 800 credit score that's full doc? You'll be lucky to get a quarter. But they would let me make 3. And the reps would come in screaming and yelling, you can't charge this. That's my buyer says I can. How do you do that? Write me a check for $1 million and I'll teach your company. Honestly, it's worth that much money to them. Because I'm not selling on price at all. It's what I'm doing, the benefits I'm bringing to them, the things see what I'm saying? That's what you're looking for in your relationships. So this is why we happen to like buyers that are investors. You might not like those. Again, back to GEO farming, same stuff. Same stuff we're dealing with here. Becoming an expert in an area and a focus where you want to be, okay, is important. Realizing that real estate is one side of maybe 3 different buckets, 3 different sides that we've talked about in the past. Your mortgages. What's the best mortgage for them? What are they trying to accomplish? Let me ask you a question. You got a buyer? Buyer wants to pay their house off as soon as possible. Okay? What's better, a 30-year or a 15-year mortgage? Anybody know?
Depends what you're trying to do.
Well, 30 years, you're going to take 30 years to pay it off, right?
No, they're trying to pay it off.
15 years is going to take 15 years to pay it off. Now, as a general example, if the mortgage on a 30-year, I know this is not Washington, okay? But if the mortgage on a 30-year mortgage is $1,000 a month, the mortgage on a 15-year mortgage is probably close to $1,500 a month. So if a person can handle the 15, people say, well, I want to pay my house off sooner. Is that the best choice for them? No. 2 reasons. As soon as you're obligated to $1,500 a month payment, you're obligated to that. And if something happens in your life, and maybe that's too hard to make, you can lose your house. Second thing is, if you get a 30-year mortgage, and you can afford that 15-year mortgage payment, and you make the 15-year payment, you pay your house off in 12 and a half years. So I just saved 2.5 years, 30 payments at $1,500. Think about it. I just saved my client $45,000, and their house is paid off 2.5 years earlier than I thought it would be. Oh, and if something happens, financially, they're only obligated to the 30-year mortgage. Okay? understanding basic concepts, having that good team, understanding the financial planning behind it, understanding your mortgage people, getting your education. You don't know all the details, you don't need to. You need to know where to find them. Okay? So, Geo Tiger Buyer, same thing as sellers. It's the same thing. It's just about life events versus straight GEO. Use them both. Honestly, use them both. So, let's jump. Lead generation. I can see what time it is. I have certain times I'm like, ooh, gosh, I am so on time. I'm a minute past and I'm so on time today. Okay? No, it goes. I get to telling stories, having a good time, and next thing you know, we're in like Thursday. Okay? And I didn't bring food this time. So, types of lead generation: direct mail, telemarketing, email, and social media. Let's jump for a second and jump in here too. So, lead generation from Tyler David, direct mail. A lot of people have jumped off direct mail. Nobody uses it anymore, very few. It's just like the newspaper. We were talking about this morning. Just like I have a real estate agent that's out of Salt Lake City, Utah, and she's about this tall, and she's blonde hair. And when you meet her, she's just, and the moment she starts talking, the words come out of her mouth are brutal. They're so on track. She does just advertising in the local newspaper. That's her whole thing. She has half a page ad. Like every Saturday, I think it's every Saturday, is very little real estate anymore in that page, but she does a half page ad.
Which paper?
What's that?
Which one? Like the Desert?
Salt Lake Tribune, I think. I think it's well, they're the same company.
Okay.
Okay, in Salt Lake, there are two newspapers,
She's
the
still-
Deseret News and the Tribune, and they're actually the same newspaper. Yeah, and they use the same classified, so they kind of share. It's how they kind of stay together. But I think she's the trip person. Okay, but it ends up in the same thing. She does over 100 transactions a year from that stupid newspaper ad. And I asked her why. She says, because nobody else uses it, and people 50 and over still read the newspaper, and they have all the money. What a target data that was.
And I think the best lesson out of that is pick something. Find something and
What's something?
stick to it. Because if you want to be the agent that sends postcards every month, then be the agent that sends postcards every month.
But be consistent.
But be consistent. 9 times out of 10, I meet with you, I get you a farm, you send out one email or you send out one postcard. Consistent, I think he has it up here later. Consistency is king. I mean, you know, if you want to buy a half-page ad in the Seattle Times, go for it. It might be a little much right now, but anyway.
Yeah, direct mail is very effective. Your return for direct mail, people still junk or not, like to get things in the mailbox.
I love getting stuff in the mail. I don't know why.
Mhm.
I go through everything from the mailbox.
I mean,
My wife is 41, okay, so my wife qualifies as a
throw away.
different.
I throw it all away.
I mean, I don't even look at it.
She reads the
Throw away
newspaper.
back of the mom.
My wife loves to read the newspaper.
My boyfriend reads the newspaper.
But you know why? Her grandfather read the newspaper every day, and she loved her grandfather. She would sit and read the funny when he read the paper. She's 41, she reads the newspaper every day. She wants to feel that newspaper. She finds things in the newspaper I never find because nobody's looking at the newspaper anymore. So it's not newspapers. Direct mail is very, very powerful. One of the things for direct mail, these are sites. Now, I will give these to you. Your 21 Online in your brand studio has direct mail pieces and direct mail abilities. It is a turnkey solution. You pay, boom, boom. You want to do 100 direct mail pieces, 1,000 direct mail pieces, whatever you want to do. Direct mail is a very powerful piece. The key to marketing is consistency. Over and over and over and over again. That's the key. So you can also go to expresscopy.com. Expresscopy.com right now has 1,000 postcards turnkey out the door for either $475, I think. Postcards, everything turnkey. Give me your data list, they'll mail them for you. That's a really good deal, by the way. Okay? The other one, every door direct mail, EDDM. That's the post office. Guys know what a carrier route is? So I got a carrier, right? Guy or girl carrying my,
Mail person,
my mail, bring my mail. They have a route. You can literally put inserts into the direct mail for about 16 cents a piece versus 57 cents or 67 or $1 a piece. And it hits every single person in that carrier route. every door.
You set that up with the post office?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just,
It's
it's
all of that's on there. You just look
EDDM.
up,
EDDM?
every door direct mail, it'll take you right to it. You can, you can, so
Keep in
again,
mind though, it's
Expensive?
no, it's not expensive, but it's not gonna be addressed to anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's just gonna be a,
It's
you know, I
resident.
mean, you get it in your
Flyer,
mail,
something
it's
to put in.
stuff
Yes.
thrown in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and not, with direct mail and those type of things, it's not only just about the direct mail, but it's the type of piece like they were just describing. Some people who pay attention to those details are gonna look, and if it doesn't show their address, you're gonna lose a little bit of credibility and a little bit of that, because people are just like, oh, this wasn't, somebody wasn't targeting me.
Right.
This is
Yeah.
just some
Right.
random
Spam.
bulk spam
However,
almost.
the up to it is where you, and you will, you lose a little credibility. The up is, it hits everybody in the neighborhood. Did you know that if you want to work with first-time home buyers, that you can target carrier routes that hit almost exclusively apartment complexes?
Really?
Yeah. That would
And
be
those,
that-
that points are hard to
Okay.
find because it's
Apartment
not recorded
complexes.
data, there's no, you can't, some companies, Cole Real Estate, or Cole Resource will get you apartment name, or apartment lists and things like that, but apartments are hard to target.
Yeah, they're hard from a data. Why are they hard from data like what she pulls and I normally pull? Because turnover.
And it's
They
not
don't keep up.
recorded anywhere,
Yeah.
you know, there's no, I mean, we don't
I
see
pulled
leases
renter
or
data
anything.
here the first time I got here. Wow. Of it, I forget what I pulled. Basically, less than 22% were actually still there. Less than 22% of the people on it were actually still at the apartment, or still at the phone number, or still at that email.
I think putting postcards or just even a poster or even hosting an event. So, because like we used to live in a townhouse out in North Bend, and whoever owned it, they threw all kinds of parties. So I would talk to those people. I think that's a much easier way to get into apartments is contact them and rent a bouncy castle and buy some cookies.
Like
and,
at their clubhouse? Or something?
Yeah, do it at the clubhouse ones. You're dealing with a higher clientele. Like most of the people that lived in the apartments were like us. Like we had just moved there.
You
We
think
didn't-
apartments, they're cool with that though? Because they're trying to rent, you're trying to sell. You might not like that.
Sure, why not? I mean, you're helping. I mean, if they get out, somebody else is coming
Yeah,
back in.
remember
It's a
this.
higher rate.
All of this is about finding and targeting a group of people
Building.
that you want to find those inside of that group who you can build a relationship with. Okay? It's always about that. Every time you do whatever you do. Is this the best one? No, but I know people that use it, and they're very effective at it. But like Carrie said, and like I've said many times in the past, pick one. Go deep. Make it turn and make it make you money.
Yeah.
Once it's making you money, automate as much as possible. Then pick the next one.
Before we leave direct
Yes,
mail, I
yeah.
put letters in here. These are sample letters. This is through Breakthrough Broker, so you can have. You all
That's
should
this
have
one here?
Breakthrough Broker accounts.
Everybody got a copy of this?
So go to the second page of it. There's like the magic letter, which is like you have a buyer, out-of-state homeowners, buyer referral letter, new agent letter, low inventory letter, informal buyer letter. So I can make these yours.
Yeah, by the way, these are good letters. On one of the first, see the
They're on
magic one right here?
Breakthrough
Magic
Broker.
letter? You guys see this magic letter right here on the back of this? You have this? You have that one? She stole your stuff. The magic
Oh,
letter.
I stole your
It is the
stuff.
same script I use, or we use. That is the same script we use when we're calling to a neighborhood. And I get Maria on the phone and I say, "Hi, Maria. Ronnie here with Century 21. How are you today? Great. What can I do for you? Listen, I'm calling through your neighborhood because I'm working with a client. And we're trying to find a house in the neighborhood. And we've looked at everything, can't find anything. And I told them I'd call everybody. And so I'm calling just to see, Maria, if you've heard or talked to anybody recently who talked about possibly moving." That's the same script. That's the same script as that letter. The process, because now, for whoever I'm calling, I'm not calling Maria and saying, "Maria, do you want to sell your house?" Pressure. No. Okay. And because now I'm asking for help. I have a reason. Then I got a client. Oh, this is great. By the way, starting about April every year, the reason I'm calling is we're trying to get in. They got some great kids, love the neighborhood, can't find anything, and I want to get them in before school starts. Now look at you. I just said that and all of you went like this. You get what that means. Okay, oh, okay. Wow, well, no, I don't know anybody. Okay, that's what, listen, how long have you lived in your house? Right? Have you guys considered possibly, not that I'm asking, but have you considered it? Well, you know, we might, but we might do that maybe, I know, yes, sometime in the future. Okay, great, let me ask you a question. In the future, what are you thinking, 3 to 5 years, 3 to 5 years? Okay, so in 3 to 5 years, how much, for the future, so I remember you, how much do you think you would like for your house? Wow, well, you know, I'd like 650,000. Awesome, that's a great price. Let me ask you a question, Maria. If I can get you 650,000 a day, will you sell it? I'm into a relationship conversation with her. We've moved down the stack. If I can get you that 650 a day, will you sell it? You're gonna get that script, by the way, that script, hold on, for telemarketing, is that letter right there.
Yeah, you can use
Same
these
thing.
any way you want. And so what's coming around right now is a piece of paper. So I just want to make sure that you have a Breakthrough Broker account. If you don't, I'll set you up with one, and then you can have access to all those, and you can merge them
Okay, so
however you
let's
want.
go. psprint.com, Vistaprint. You guys all know Vistaprint, right? Vistaprint has full-blown direct mail capacity, turnkey. Great pricing, great printing, anything you want, total turnkey. So any one of the 5 of those up there can give you direct mail abilities. And direct mail has a very good response, especially if you're targeting very specific life events. For example, notice of default, notice the trustee sale. How about this one? How about going in and pulling data before people have a notice of default? How about the people who are 30, 60, 90, and 120 days late on their mortgage, but there's no notice of default yet? Remember, as soon as that NOD hits, every realtor in the planet is hunting that one down. So why don't you get the data before they're hunting? Start marketing then. Okay? So, lead generation from telemarketing. Why? Remember, why would we have to get on the phone? Well, nothing beats an actual conversation with a live person to develop a rapport and connection. Nothing. People like to connect. And here's one thing in Win Friends and Influence People, the old book, and I've heard this from a couple other people recently. People, all of us, crave connection. We do. Every single human you run across is craving a connection. That's how we're built. And telemarketing is a great way to build that. You, to this day, it still has the best return on investment in marketing. You cannot get a better return on investment in your marketing than you can from telemarketing. Maybe email. Yeah, they're close. They're so close. And they use in conjunction. You get a clear feel for what's important to buyer, and it can be used in conjunction with your other lead gen sources. A lot of times, you can cold call out if you like, but you can also use social media, direct mail, and email marketing to generate the initial step, and then step in with the telemarketing. Okay? Email. For actual best return on your investment, email campaigns still crush all of the types of marketing. You guys know that? Now, social media is hot right now, right? Everybody loves social media, right? The return on investment for direct mail versus social media is like 100 to 1. It's that different. Remember, because no matter what you do at the end of the day, if it does not turn into a closing, you are not doing your job. So no matter how much you like something, some advertising, some marketing, something, no matter what it is and how much you spend and how much the entire world loves whatever it is, if you don't get closings out of it in excess of what you put in, you're in the wrong place. It all comes down to you do service to people, you take care of people, you build relationships with people in order to facilitate closed transactions. And that's what we're looking for. So,
One of the things I'll say-
Now, content, what do you send?
Yeah.
Content, that's a big one for social media and direct mail, all of it's content. Where do you find content? Well, she's a source. Honestly, your title rep, especially Carrie, she's really good at social media. She really is. She's got a ton of content she can supply you for targets. Yeah, see, she just got real close to you. She likes you. That's what it, remember, that's the connection. See, now you have a connection. Okay? You are her target audience. not your clients, she markets to you. So you're a client, she's building a relationship with you. Okay, I'm gonna say that, I'm gonna embarrass you for a second. Can I
Oh,
embarrass
please.
you? Okay.
It's hard to embarrass.
Title reps, when you become a title rep in a company, what's the basic, correct me when I'm wrong, the basic philosophy is to go out and see how many brokerages a day?
Oh, 5 offices a day.
5 offices a day, 5 days a week, da-da-da-da-da. How many do you actually go see?
I talk too much. 2
2.
to 3.
Now, but look at the difference. I've watched this. Carrie will come in and plant herself in this office and make herself indispensable to this office. She'll pick 2 or 4 or 5 total offices and integrate herself as a relationship into those offices. While everybody else is running around trying to find the 25 to 50 offices someplace I'm trying to get business, and she just stops, sits down here or wherever she picks and builds that relationship. And over time, she picks up more business than the rest of them. And it's a lot more fun, huh?
It is. When I first started, I was given 200 offices and told to go get business. 200 offices. And you have to figure most offices have 50 to 100 agents. And I was given, go get title orders. And I was like, what? So over the span of a year, and then obviously moving to a new company, I've got it narrowed down to about 35. And about 10 are offices like this. So to put it in perspective, a lot of people are like, how does title work? How do you get paid? How does that all work? I have to get between 70 and 100 title orders a month in order to make money. And I don't get paid until your orders close. So a lot of times you'll get title reps that'll come in here and that are much better sellers than I am, that come in and go, do you have a title order? Do you have a title order? Do you have a title order? Give me a title order. Give me a title order. And they collect all these title orders, but then Ronnie calls me and opens title.
Well, it's because we never see them again, right?
But then you don't actually close with them because you'll open it with me because I have the relationship. And you know what I mean? You see the difference? I mean, so if you're marketing to everybody, you're marketing to nobody. And for me, you know me, I like you, I want to, if you succeed, like when you guys close, I'm like,
Hey, now stop a second. Stop right here. Look at everybody's smile on your faces. There's not a person in this room that's not actually got a bit of a smile and they understand what she's saying. Be this person for your clients, your databases. Selling is identical no matter what you're selling.
Right.
For the most part, it is. Connect, build a relationship, care about people, help them solve their problems, build a big enough database. It's got 35 ish and 10 like that. You know what I'm saying? Does she need the other 165? No. 210 people that you know and have a relationship with is a $300,000 to $400,000 a year career. This is what we're talking about. Okay, so, that's the big one. By the way, social media content, 21 Online Brand Studio, news stories. News stories are great, by the way. You want a new something? Come on, something hits Facebook today, something blows up today. Hey, you can use those as content, tickler, because it's popular out there. Makes people look, right?
the Ellen thing right now that's so popular. Ellen went to a baseball game with George Bush and everybody's like, oh my gosh, it's amazing.
Ellen DeGeneres?
Yeah. And it's just funny, right? Because two polar opposites politically that went to a baseball game and they enjoyed it. Well, that must have been shared 7 million times because it's like,
It was her and George Bush. I don't watch it.
Well, no, so the thing is that people called her out on it because they showed it on national TV that the two of them were sitting together. All her fans called her out on it. How dare you be friends with a conservative? And then she came back on Monday and said, be nice. We're friends. I'm friends with him. Just because I don't believe what he believes doesn't mean I'm not friends with him. Well, now, of course, everybody's like, oh, that's so good. We should all be friends. Whatever. You can believe what you want to believe politically, but to me, you can grab a story like that because people are getting tons of traction on it. You go, oh, be kind. That's the message. But just the flavor of the day. Find the thing that people are talking about. Find the baby that's sucking its thumb.
Such and such came back and said, in a relationship with whoever, whether Trump or whoever, to be nice.
Be nice.
So I'm sending you a quick little blurb of 50 different ways to be nice. What an email. And if I can help you with any blah, blah, blah at the bottom, click here. They'll click, they'll download, Ooh, get this. As soon as a person fills out the information and downloads that, they're in your database.
I'm gonna talk about email really quick too, about email campaigns. You guys, there's a lot of companies and I can help you with drip campaigns and things like that. Always look at the subject
Subject lines.
line, because that's what drops people's eyes. That's what makes them stop. So as you're looking through your email, figure out what makes you stop. Besides 75% off J. Crew, or like the things that you what, Target, what? But I have a lender that sends me monthly things, and lenders, they're always like good looking.
Wild.
His said, break up with the other guy. I was like, I blushed. I was like, oh my God, John's flirting with me. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Break up
Did
with
you
your other
open
loan
the
guy.
email?
Totally read the
Okay.
email, and it caught
How
me,
about
right?
this?
Not that I
Want to hear a
recommend
subject
saying.
line? How about a title to a book? You're walking through the store, you're in there, and you see this title: How to Eat Ice Cream and Cheesecake and Be Lean for Life.
Right.
What was that? That's what you're looking for right there.
Yeah.
Pick it up, crack the book. Now the next paragraph has got a caption too. That's the body. But that's email marketing. Absolutely. Break up. I love that. I'm going to use that.
I'm
Break up
sure
the
you
other
are.
guy.
Ronnie, what do you
See
think?
the one on the bottom right there? Consistency is king. If you're going to go into a marketing campaign, it's not a one-time thing. It's an ongoing, consistent, you're always there, always there. Bob Angasini, who teaches his team network for mortgages, is the guy that has taken the lowest producing B of A branch in the country. And I'm talking where the loan officers are averaging around one loan per month per loan officer. And in 90 days, he took it to where they're averaging 16 closed transactions per loan officers in 90 days with zero advertising. He got up, told them to get up off their back end, make a list, 5 per day of builders or real estate agents, and at the exact same time, the exact same day, for the next 6 weeks, you walk into their office and say hi. Even if they throw you out, you come back the next week and say hi. And the next week, and the next week. That one piece took his little office that he was given from the lowest producing B of A office in the nation to the number one producing B of A office in the nation in 3 months. Wells Fargo caught hold of this, called him up and said, can you do it again? We'll pay you a lot. He took their lowest producing, same thing, 90 days later. They said, could you do it for a region? That took him 5 months. There's a lot more people, right? The whole thing was consistency. And one of his favorite stories I got out was this. He walks into a builder and they have a correspondent line. So they have their own mortgage company underneath another mortgage company inside his office with 2 loan officers. The guy says, you know what, great to meet you, but I have my own line. I don't need you guys. Bob says, no problem, how's business done? Next Monday, he comes back, 10 o'clock. Guy says, I thought I told you I didn't need you. He said, you did, I just want to see how your business is. I was just chatting. Next week he comes back, next week he comes back, next week he comes back. 6th week he walks in the door. The guy jumps out of the chair and says, hey, get this. He says, I knew you'd be here. I've got one for you, can you close this? And 2 months later, they closed down their line and everything went through his office. Consistency is king. That's the key.
He's probably showing up more than the other people were calling him sick, not showing up.
Also, owning and kind of nurturing that list as you go, as important as data is, maintaining it and keeping up on it and nurturing it, that's what really gives you the value of your book of business. So if you have a list of 500 emails and you do an email blast, and then you're like, oh, I didn't get much response, if I send it again. If you're not paying attention to how many of those are now invalid email addresses, how many times they're being opened and looked at, each one, and then each time you dial that down, no matter how big your list is, your list then becomes more and more, you have opportunity more and more each time. Because the consistency, as great as that is, but then paying attention to what you're getting back and capitalizing on that is just as important.
Anybody from Arkansas? No? Anybody understand moonshine?
Yeah.
You distill alcohol. You always see 3 X's on it, triple X. You know what that means? It went through the system 3 times and distilled down and down and down, and that's where you make the best spirits.
That's the good stuff.
Consistency. Yeah. No, because I don't drink, but I got family from Arkansas. Okay, social media. Ooh, this is a big one. This is big, guys. This is so cool. Once you start a marketing campaign for your list, it could be anything. Okay, I want you to go out to all the social media sites. When those people are clicking through, or they're becoming, or they're calling you, or you're making contact, find them on social media and friend them. Then start engaging. Build your relationship. That's one of the greatest things social media is for. Social media is one of the best support pieces for building rapport with someone above and beyond just the initial contact. The initial contact can be in a lot of ways, but your list, your CRMs, right? You get a lead from here. Well, don't just call them, email them. Find them on Facebook. Find them on LinkedIn. Find them on something. Find these people. Connect with them. Social media is hot that way. For those who connect to you, start developing an online relationship. And then put all of their information in your CRM. Have you noticed on Facebook, man, they got a dog named Spot. They got 3 kids. Gosh, they're 9, 7, and 5. Boy, girl, and girl. You know the names. You know their husband. You know their, you know where they work. Put that in your CRM. That's data. That's a dossier. That is information you're building. Guess what? I call Maria. I don't know. I'm talking to Maria in 6 months, right? And I call. Can I use you? I can use you. Thank you. By the way, if you don't want me calling you out on this, say, look, come get me. Say, I'm not. I don't get embarrassed, so I forget that everybody else does. Okay? I really don't. So I'm gonna call Maria up and say, I happen to know that Maria has 2 kids, a girl and a boy. Now I don't know their names yet because I haven't met them yet. But I would have that in my database. And if we had talked once and she had told me her little girl's name or boy's name, or I found on social media, I might have that name in there. I might also know from social media or from something she said that she wants to be a ballerina. 6 months later, we're talking, and I say, hey, how's the ballerina thing going with such and such? Does she still want to be a ballerina? Oh, no, she's on to it. And I noticed something. I just remembered something that is personal to her and is a part. When you talk to people about things that are important to them, that's where you start to build rapport. She becomes important enough for me to figure this out. Take the time to figure it out. Are these people you're building this connection with important enough to get to actually know? Okay? That's a big key. Okay, set up outgoing content from your CRM to your contacts. So again, content comes from your everything. I mean, all kinds of sources, but your brand studio is a great place to start. She's another great place to start because there's great content. Hey, I just saw this email. I know you're into such and such. Okay? Boom. Okay? So, let's recap. We're going to talk a little bit. We're going to answer some questions. We got about 15 minutes for more question things. So,
And Ronnie, I want to just go over that. I just want to show that farm tool real quick.
What's that?
I want to show that farming tool.
Okay, absolutely. So, we'll pull that up next then.
Okay.
So, as soon as today we covered seller data, buyer data. Where do you get it from? That's your first source. It's not the only source, but it's your first source. For example, we talked about life event farming. Title will not really be able to pull the life events.
We can't.
Rebo Gateway
Okay,
is another
Yeah.
source
okay,
for
good.
$25 or $24 a month per county, and you can pull all of that information. It's yours. And then you cross it up with her data that distills it down a little farther. Then you start your marketing campaign in one format, or pick one. Maybe it's email, maybe it's direct mail, maybe it's social media, maybe it's just cold call telemarketing. But the people you connect with, then you definitely find them in your social media. You definitely become friends with them. You definitely invite these people to your client appreciation events or your parties. Because it's not about selling you a house or selling your house. It's about getting to know you, becoming friends, connected, and being that authority for when you're ready. I'm the logical choice. I'm the one that emotionally you're connected to. Oh, I know Ronnie, and he's just great. Whether I am or not, you believe it, so you do me. I am now the person in the barbershop. Or get this, I'm the title rep that happens to be sitting in my office 2 days a week in my office, working with me on things. Wow, you're always here, but the other people just come and go. You're always here helping me. Sales is sales. Sales is not a bad thing. Sales is about solving people's problems and connecting with the people you want to. I do not want to sell to 100,000 people. I want a nice little base of 500 to 1,000 highly targeted people that I can build an ongoing relationship with, that I can do the amount of business I want, so I can spend time with my family, my friends, and do what I want. That's right, see? That's key. Targeted databases. Data is killer. You can farm this stuff. Get this. This is so powerful that Colonial, what was Colonial's last name? There's a company out of Boston called Colonial something. They're a database company, and they had access to Facebook's data. Remember when Facebook got in trouble for the data? It's Colonial such as, I forget the name of the company exactly, because they didn't delete all the data. They kept it, and they used that data in England to sway the vote to pull London and England completely out of the EU. That Beatrix, that's how they swayed the vote 8%. That's
There's a
huge.
movie out about
Just
that.
off the data.
There's a movie,
What's the name?
Oh
what's
my
that
God.
movement called? Beatrix?
Brexit.
Brexit. There's a movie on Netflix called Brexit. It's phenomenal. Like
So
if you think
data
Facebook is dead,
powerful. Use it. Come to me. Come to Rango. Sit down with Carrie. We'll help you, okay?